Welcome back to Capitol Journal. Joining me next is Wayne Reid, Executive Director of Alabama Public Television. Boss, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Todd. It's been a little bit of a crazy week.
Been a bit of a week,
Yeah.
Hasn't it? Well, that's the thing. We've that's why I wanted to have you on. The commission, the Alabama Educational Television Commission,
Correct.
met this week, made some decisions. I think people were reassured that Alabama Public Television is keeping with the contract with PBS, and I think it was a good outcome. But this has been a long development. I was hoping that you could share with our viewers, kind of start from the beginning. Where did this conversation start, and why are we even here?
Well, I was approached by a few commissioners back in October to investigate how quickly could we get out of PBS content and switch over to solely independent and not have any affiliation with PBS. And could we do that in a couple of months? Could we do that in 90 days back in October? And so I started looking at it, just simply saying I think this could be very difficult. There's a lot of things were tied into PBS. I think that came out in the meeting, but really kind of got that started as I was looking at it. And then about a week and a half later, we had our commission meeting. And right before that meeting, I was reminded by our CFO that we have our PBS bill coming due at the end of November.
Which means APT pays PBS for the 90% of the programming that airs on APT.
A great big chunk. I mean, I wouldn't even say it's all just programming. It's infrastructure. It's our music rights. It's a ton of stuff that come within that PBS membership. So that first payment was coming due at the end of November, and not knowing the direction that the commission was kind of leading, I brought up in the meeting to the commission, the chairman. I said, "Hey, we need to know if we need to pay this PBS bill at the end of November. If we're really going to proceed with, you guys want to head this direction. This is the direction the commission wants to head to separate from PBS. I recommend not paying it, and we'll negotiate with PBS on the back end. But it's better to not give them the money and ask for it back." So I said, "Which do you want me to do? You want to pay the bill or not?" And that's when it kind of came out from that conversation. It came out in the commission meeting, and then from there they voted to have the meeting that we had this last Tuesday to follow up with that, and that had me do further investigation as to what it would cost, what were the hard costs, so that everybody on the commission could see what that would look like.
Sure. But I think what you just said is an important clarification, because I've been getting all kinds of questions about this. Like, why would APT do this? It's not like we concocted this as a staff.
No. Yeah.
But there's a commission that oversees, appointed by the governor to oversee public television. Correct. And it came from a couple of members.
Yeah, a couple of members from that commission had asked me to take a look at this. They were really said that there was a strong feeling within the commission that this is the direction maybe we should be heading, and so hey, let's look at this, and really how fast could we potentially do it, make that separation. So that's really, it didn't come from the staff, didn't come from anything like that. It really came from an investigation and some asking from the commission.
Well, what that resulted in, because at the meeting, and I was there, and I didn't say anything, but I was taking in all of your presentation, which was detailed and thorough about all the financial reasons why it's a bad idea. It would just be very difficult for APT to even exist without that partnership with PBS. But even more importantly, well, first of all, that was very thorough. But you also had the governor step in with her letter the day before saying, hold your horses. Before you even consider something like this, you need to have very, documented and researched, a plan, basically. Right. I think that made a lot of difference.
I think it did too, and I was really appreciative that the governor did step in and say that. And I think she was very valid. We need to listen. This is taxpayers' money, and then it's members' money. These are all citizens of Alabama that contribute to make Alabama Public Television what it is. And I feel like they should have a voice in that and should be able to express themselves, which they definitely did. I know if they were anything like us, I know they were probably inundated with the SNAP stuff, but as soon as that was over, we were inundated with calls and emails and everything coming in. And if the governor's office felt any kind of pressure like we did, it may have been what triggered the statement on Monday morning. But I think she gave us a clear direction, a path ahead. The commission voted on Tuesday for me to form a committee of experts on variety field, but also bring in citizens as well to sit down and look at the direction that we need to head, and the valuability of the best financial plan. And I think that's the first place we need to start. I mean, I just recognizing from what I had to put together for this last meeting, the value we get from PBS and the quality of programming that we get from PBS, we can't come close to that and what we would have to pay
Right.
to develop it or buy it anywhere else. And the infrastructure and the licensing fees. I mean, the great thing about that public broadcast system and what they've been able to do for the music licensing fee, I talked about how much we pay now. It's included in our dues. I don't know exactly how much that is in the dues, but we're going to be paying close to $900,000 just for APT because we have to negotiate as an individual station.
Because PBS does that as a national thing.
And those music license fees cover the radio because it was done by CPB. It's a longer-term contract that's already there. So it's thousands and thousands of stations that are negotiating for these music rights, which makes it a lot cheaper than on an individual station.
Yeah, and I made the comparison, like all these college football fans the other day or a couple weeks ago were furious when YouTube TV and Disney couldn't reach an agreement, and so people couldn't watch SEC football, right?
Right.
Well, that would essentially be what would happen if suddenly PBS was and APT weren't, those streaming services, which I think is like more than almost 50% of our audience.
Yeah, I mean, people are doing the streaming, the MVPD devices. People are doing YouTube TV and Hulu with live and Sling with live. It's really taken over, and it's close to 50% of the marketplace now.
Yeah.
And the way you look at the way we do TV now and broadcast, we talk about multi-platform because we're putting stuff on social media and we do reels, and people consume media so differently now than they did before. And for us to stay up and to keep current with what's going on, streaming plays a huge role, and we've got to make sure we stay on there. If we lost that, we would lose half of our audience availability in the state of Alabama, and that's just too many. It's too big of a risk.
Sure. Well, another thing, folks showed up to the meeting. There was some, kind of a little demonstration outside. I saw like a Cookie Monster and things like that. But what I really appreciated was there was an opportunity during the meeting for those that showed up to talk and to share their stories. The reason I thought it was so meaningful is, you're hearing from our audience about their viewership, their experience with PBS and APT.
Yeah.
The shows that they depend on. So much about PBS Kids. You had parents of children saying, we depend on this.
Right.
You had folks saying, look, I've been an APT viewer for 50 years and all this. And that was, to me, and I'm relatively new to this, that was really something. So I think that also made a big difference with the commission because that was demonstrated in how they voted, right? Because there was not a dissenting vote on moving forward with that plan.
Yeah, there was a guy there who said he moved in 1955 to Alabama. I think it was in Gadsden, and started watching APT then. He said, I think I'm probably the longest viewer. There was a lady there who'd, I think, taken off work, had an autistic child.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there was a dry eye in that room by the time she got done about how big Daniel Tiger was in his routine. It was really super thankful that Senator
there was two.
Smitherman and Coleman Madison were there, both from that Birmingham area, talking about how important it was for their districts. We had people come from all over, and it was really great to hear the stories. And the education was really the big thing. There was a couple of educators there talking about there's a difference between cartoons and a difference between what PBS puts out in their quote-unquote cartoons. They're educational. They're designed to teach kids how to be prepared for pre-K. When you look at Disney and you look at Nickelodeon and any of those other things, those are all about marketing products to kids.
Right.
And
that's entertainment. It's not
entertainment. That's not education. And that's the big difference in what PBS has to offer and what we can do through PBS, through APT, that other kids. Plus, it's free. It's over the air. And there's a lot of places here in Alabama where you can't get streaming. The high speed's coming. I know the governor's done a fabulous job of getting that out to the state, and we're getting there. But there are still areas that they can only pick up stuff over the air. And so for us to be able to offer that out to the kids and the families that are out there, I think is wonderful. So
yeah, well, and that's another thing because it struck me that I think it was like 20% of the audience is still it's broadcast.
Yeah.
Meaning antennas.
Yeah.
Right. Not cable. Not any of that. It's that broadcast.
That number's gone up because when I got to Alabama in 2011, it was like 7%. It had been shrinking, and now with streaming and internet, over-the-air broadcast has picked back up.
Yeah. So I think the commission learned a lot. I think we all learned a lot. And what I also heard was a need for reassurance, that let's reassure our members and our viewers that we're going to be here. But also there is a funding challenge.
Right.
And I heard some commitment from those in attendance saying, hey, we'll be there for you. As long as we know that we're going to be around,
Right.
We'll be there as members. We'll be there as, funders of PBS. So talk about that. Will there be efforts to have membership drives and things like that to make up that, because there is that delta of funding since the rescission cuts.
So yes, we will be reaching out. We will ask people for donations, and I feel certain the people of Alabama respond, but I understand that they need that reassurance. And right now we are going to be funded. We know we're funded through June. I am, like I said, I want to move rapidly on trying to get this committee put together to be able to work through the financials and have them do the studies if we need to, and everything that we need to do to be able to come back with a recommendation for the commission and for the governor. And I think to make sure the governor's happy as well. But I would love to be able to try to move rapidly so that we could reassure everybody by the end of the year or by the end of January, we got a longer term relationship with PBS and there's no reason we're going to make any changes.
Yeah.
And I think that would help. I think everybody feel a lot better about the membership that they give us. We raise over $3 million from people giving us extra dollars through our membership drives.
Viewers like you.
Viewers like you, and they get the passport and everything, and so all those services will still be there and available for them.
Yeah. Well, look, I know it's been quite a experience for you. Thank you for what you've done. Like, I just learned a lot through this whole experience. And behind the scenes, so many lawmakers reached out, so many people reached out just asking what's going on. I know that so much communication happened. So I appreciate you coming on to explain some of this, to answer some of these questions.
I'm glad I could do it. Thanks, Todd.
Thanks, Wayne. We'll be right back.